Hey, all you space cats. Welcome to the Black Hole Podcast, Season 7, Episode 31. I'm Mitch Miller. I am the most neutral presidential candidate, the most transparent presidential candidate, and I'm a free market entrepreneur. Possibly the most neutral person in the world. I'm running for President of the United States, mainly to put pressure on politicians to adopt my policies, which you can listen to on this season of the podcast. So there's been two new developments this week, major national news. There was a glitch, a CrowdStrike glitch that disabled banks, airlines, point-of-sale purchases all throughout the world. Said to be the largest IT glitch meltdown in history. Was this the glitch for Twitchy Mitch? You'd have to follow my modcast to know what that is, but it proves that extremely stupid people have billions of dollars. Extremely stupid people run the world and design the world in a very stupid manner. For one glitch to affect this many businesses, this many operations, this many people. I mean, just think about it. The United States government could have said, we're only going to buy computers for the government and hypothetically for the military that are made by a U.S. computer company, United States computer company, and all jobs related to the manufacture of those computers must be located in the United States of America, right? Instead of outsourcing the production out of every computer and device to countries that basically employ slaves to build these things, right? And we just said, oh, as long as we have the operating systems, as long as we have the software, right? And just let Steve and Bill take over the world with their operating systems. And we don't even manufacture a computer in the United States using all United States ethical employment. So the United States government is every bit a slave-holding government as much as these corporations. The second major news is that President Biden has dropped out of the race as a candidate. Now look, I'll never call Biden a coward, right? He accepted my challenge and he got out from behind this hate machine, this propaganda machine, these media companies and their political games, attack, counterattack, just all money into these corporations that are the media, big three media conglomerates. They love it. They could, by the way, say, hey, there was an assassination this year, and this election cycle, we're not going to allow attack ads. They're privately owned, publicly traded companies. They can deny service. They can say, we're not going to run these things, but Biden got out from behind the hate machine, right? The strategic, whatever you want to call it, of a campaign where you have to attack. And it's looking like Vice President Harris is going to be the candidate for the Democrats. So I'd like to invite candidate Trump and candidate Harris to run a clean election. They can do this by sponsoring my platform Periscope, as detailed on the Mitch4Mayor.com website. And that's how they could sponsor it. I have my website, Mitch4Mayor.com. Each candidate could pay out of their campaign funds for a simple flyer advertising their campaign on my website, right? That's the first step. Split the cost, pay enough so that I can form a nonprofit. It'll be totally transparent. You'll be able to see exactly where your campaign funds go, how they're used. Just please pay enough for this advertisement on my website that I can form a nonprofit and pay the average salary of at least one computer engineer to help me build the platform, right? Me and a computer engineer, we can at least get this thing started. I don't know what they make on average, $150,000, $200,000 a year. Pay for 1 year's salary, and it's a couple grand to form a nonprofit, I think. I'll work for free. You don't have to compensate me to build this platform, because it's the right thing to do, candidates. Don't you want to be doing the right thing to do? So I invite you. Look in your hearts, and let's have a clean election campaign on both sides. So I want to talk about lying career politician versus a lying businessman, right? So a lying politician, they buy gold toilet seats for their office, right? They align favors and kickbacks and lie about it. They say war is a last resort, but they posture and threaten war every chance they get. That's a lying politician. Now, a lying businessman says business is great. Yeah, business is great. Everything's great. He, behind closed doors, secures his golden parachute and his bonuses, shores up the investors, all while lying and saying business is great, hypothetically fudging reports. And then he goes bankrupt and screws people out of pensions, right? And I speak from experience. Franklin Steel, the steel mill in my hometown of Franklin that my great-grandfather worked at, my grandfather worked at, and my father worked at. Franklin Steel went bankrupt 2 years after my grandfather retired. My life might have been a lot different had he not retired when he did. But many of his friends, many of my grandfather's friends, lost their pensions. How can you forget what these lying businessmen have done over the past 50, 60 years? Since the 70s till present, the businessmen figured out that they can find cheap labor overseas, they can build cheap products overseas, and as soon as they figured this out, they ran their companies into the ground and screwed millions of people out of pensions. This is the business cycle. This is the United States business people. They did this to working class, middle class Americans. Okay, how can you forget this? Now, I'm a free market entrepreneur, okay? As a free market entrepreneur, I have a responsibility to the market, not investors. I have a responsibility to the market because it's so free. And my responsibility is with the market for being free. As part of this, I realize that well-paid workers equal well-paid customers and consumers. If you want a free market, you have to take care of the free market. But these corporations, they take advantage of infrastructure that the public built with their tax money. Because the investors said, utilize all the free infrastructure you can to maximize our profits, right? And that's why we need to levy taxes on these corporations. Because they don't pay what they should for the infrastructure they use. So that's why we levy taxes on these corporations, right? They maximize profit, take the free infrastructure, and look, I'm all for a tax-free society. I think we have the technology to have a tax-free society. And I'm not trying to come to... A lot of businessmen are lean towards Republicans, right? And I believe if the Republican Party was what it is supposed to be, I can agree with a lot of what they are, right? Nobody likes paying taxes. So that's what the Republican Party stands for, right? They also stand for conservative values, which is basically values instilled on you by organized religion. Now, as an independent, neutral person, I can agree with some of these values. We need a baseline of some things in the United States and elsewhere. Why, though, is it that certain parties pander to the billionaires? I know they fund the campaigns, but if it was just about lowering taxes and conservative values and not pandering to these billionaires, I think there'd be a lot more small businesses and independent businesses that could get behind this. But look, I'm all for a tax-free society, right? Lowering taxes or doing away with them, all right? But it starts with transparency. These corporations have to be transparent. We could build a platform. We have the technology where infrastructure needs are entered into this platform, studies, all the information about roads, bridges, any infrastructure. It's all on the platform. And we show how much a new bridge benefits Shazamazon, the shipping company, and as well as how much it benefits the public. And then this platform could facilitate multimillionaires getting together to build the bridge, giving enough money because it's a needed thing in our society. We can prescribe where taxes go, and that's what my plan was if I was Secretary of the Treasury, right? We can say, I'm going to put this money towards a bridge. These two corporations are going to put this much money towards a bridge, and we need a little bit from the public as well. And we're taking donations through the platform so that we can build this new bridge. Now, individual taxes would have to be transparent too, but we could have a pay-what-you-want model of taxes in this country. Right? I'm just trying to spitball, think about ways that we could have a tax-free society. So you'd have to be transparent with how much you've paid into the tax accounts, right? There'd be different accounts for public roads, road signs, street signs, police, ambulance, fire, all the different categories. You can choose how much you want to give, pay what you want model. But anyone in your district can see what you paid in the local taxes and the county taxes. Anyone in your state would be able to see what you paid into state taxes, into the different categories, and anyone in the nation could see what you paid in the federal taxes in the different categories. So I'm not sure how it would work with, like police, if your house was robbed, right? Maybe you've paid $5,000 over the past 5 years towards police, so that when you're robbed, the police only devote $5,000 worth of hours towards trying to find the criminal that robbed your house, right? If a police officer, if it costs the department $50 an hour to put a detective on it, what's that, 100 hours? So maybe that's how it works. As far as a fire at your house, maybe you've paid $6,000 towards the fire department, and it costs $10,000 to put the fire out at your house. You would get that $6,000 that you gave out of your free will towards the fire department off of your bill, and then you would be billed the other $4,000 for putting the fire out at your house, and they could put a lien on whatever or go through the insurance. But ideally for this to work, I think you would have to do away with billionaires, right? Let's look at what these billionaires do with all that money they've acquired. They build spaceships, rockets, to escape the planet that they are destroying. if you want to fix the planet, if you want to fix the country, if you want a tax-free society, what's wrong with multimillionaires? You can have everything modern society allows you, multiple houses, whatever, multiple vehicles with multi-million dollars. So, again, as candidate for president, I'm all for a tax-free society and figuring out how that works and how we do it. And we have the technology. One side of the corporate communist regime stands for lower taxes and conservative values. I just don't understand why they pander to these billionaires. You could have grassroots fundraising like the other side of the corporate communist regime does and probably be just as successful. All right, so until next time, I wish you peace, prosperity, and homeostasis.